What we have right now is what we have given, for it's only a mirror of who we are. Sadly, the reflection isn't pretty. Staring back at us from mirror is a broken world of social injustice, discrimination, and prejudices, especially against people with disabilities. Championing the course to heal this split is a network for the advancement of people with visible disabilities, NAPVID. We have decided to be a voice. You too can. Join the Hitches and Voices every Friday at 2 p.m. on Independent Radio 92.3. Hitches and Voices. Spot the hitch, be a voice.
TGIF, thank God it's Friday on Independent Radio 92.3 here in Benin City. The program is Hitches and Voices. My name is Kingsley Okoji, your usual host on the program. Together, as usual, or as always, I have my suspects here with me.
Oh, wow.
Barbara Obi and Siri. Welcome to Hitches and Voices.
Thank you.
I like calling you Barbara Obi. It reminds me of Peter Obi.
Nice.
Probably just adopt him as your dad.
Oh,
Your dad is not going to like that, Sha.
definitely you wouldn't.
So welcome to Hitches and Voices.
Thank you, Kingsley. It's good to be here.
All right, another very exciting Friday afternoon. Like I said, TGIF. Weekend used to be. I'm sure weekend was meant for relaxation. But do people still relax over the weekend? The economy is not making that possible. People are still hustling. Saturday, Sunday, we're all looking for money. People pick other jobs just to be able to meet up financially. There's no time to rest. We have to also, but that's not the subject for today. Today on Hitches and Voices. But before I talk about what we'll be talking about on the program today, don't forget Hitches and Voices. It's coming to you courtesy of Network for the Advancement of People with Visible Disability, NAPVID. NAPVID is a non-governmental organization here in Benin City that is advocating for the rights of persons with disability all over the country. Here on Hitches and Voices, we bring disability awareness straight to your doorstep. And today on the program, we'll be looking at disability in the 21st century, leveraging on digital technology. That sounds a lot, but it's a topic that I'm sure for those who are with disability, who are Gen Zs, they can relate.
We can.
Yes, because there are a lot of things they are enjoying in this 21st century that those before them didn't have the privilege of enjoying. Maybe I'll take or I'll do a bit of history. Maybe I'll give some history class. The evolution of disability started with a period that was called the period of annihilation, where if you have a child with disability in the Roman and Greek Empire, you have to give that child straight because the child is of no use. Children then were prepared for military assignments, and the women were prepared to take care of the home while their husband go out to fight the war front. So if you have a child with a disability, he has a physical deformity, the child is as good as nothing. They just take the child to the mountainside, abandon the child there, or probably just kill the child.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was called the period of annihilation, and that period lasted for quite a long time till we had the period of rejection. They wouldn't necessarily kill the child, but both parents would just just reject the child, that no, this cannot be our child. So the child would just be there, of no use, of no value. You know, that period lasted for a very long time as well. You now have the period where they've accepted that, okay, these people can be
manage.
Make it useful, can manage them.
At all.
That period also lasted for a very long time, and unfortunately in some clients that period is still is still very much existing. Still, you know, that period is still where those people in those clients have found themselves, where people reluctantly accept persons with disability. But in some other places, integration, inclusion, accessibility, rights, these are the key words, and society is gradually gradually and
Accepting.
generally has accepted the fact that disability is not a human rights issue, it's not a social issue. The blindness, being on a wheelchair, the deafness, it's not really the disability. The disability stems from the barriers, the obstacles, those challenges that society tend to put on the ways of persons with disability. So if you have a disability and you have access to a lift that can take you to any height of any story building, is there a disability anymore? No.
No.
If you are blind and you have access to any printed material through braille or audio or electronic version, you're not blind anymore. You can see, but you're just seeing through another means. And so that's where the world has evolved right now. And so children or persons with disability living in the 21st century enjoy much more than their counterparts who lived before now. There was time where if you go to a special school, you just find one person in his class. I think I was in that era. I remember in primary school, I was the only one in my class.
Wow.
And I will come out first out of you could be second out of 42 children in PP in that class, but I was first out of only me. So I embraced my first. But if you go to a lot of special schools now, I mean,
Yes,
you see
competition.
a lot of parents are now beginning to identify with their kids. People now give their children with disability access to their love and affection. The parents are now more concerned about their children. Okay, yes, he's blind, he's deaf, he's on a wheelchair. What can I do? Can I take this child to school? Where are the schools? Those days parents not even they ask that question. They just leave you at home. For those who don't understand Benin, he can't do
Translate.
anything.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that is it. So but
I strongly agree with what you said. There's been a significant progress in promoting inclusivity and accessibility for persons with disability.
Shout out to Navid.
Yes.
and every other sister organization doing their best.
Yes. There's been a good progress. Yes, but won't stop, right? We'll still continue.
No,
until
we are not
get
yet
there.
there. It's
Yes.
not yet to who. I mean, don't let me start story. There are still people who see disability as a curse and a burden. There are still people who see disability as something that shouldn't be talked about, something that should not be on our national conversation. So, for instance, if you are shouting inclusivity, if you are shouting rights, they still look you with that eye of charity. That don't talk too much. You just take.
Just find something.
Take this cake and keep quiet. Not be your problem, be our problem. No.
Exactly.
There are more important things to talk about. But quite frankly, disability is not an exclusive right of anybody. I mean, you could wake up tomorrow and voila,
You have a
someone with a
disability.
disability. So we must create a world that will be accessible, friendly to everybody, so that in case disability comes knocking, you can still adjust to life. Imagine if there was no assistive technology, if we didn't have to leverage on digital technology, many persons with disability will not be working today.
True.
Exactly.
Yeah, they will not be, they wouldn't have even gone to school. Somebody had to take the pain to come up with the idea of when you are designing technology, how do you see? I don't know how to say this, but I'm almost tempted to say I like Oyibo people. Because their thinking process, when they design things, they always think inclusion. So when they are designing technology, they are thinking of assistive technology, persons with disability. When they are building their roads, they are thinking of walkways for those on wheelchair, those who use cane guide, those who are blind. When they are building structures, they are thinking of, how do we make this structure accessible for persons with disability? When they are printing materials, how do we print it so that those who are blind can have access to it? When they are doing anything, those who are hearing impaired, how can they be part of it? That's how a society should function. You shouldn't just live for yourself. Think about others. And Hitches and Voices, in the spirit of this topic, went out to talk to persons with disability who are not dead, who are alive in the 21st century, to talk about how they are functioning in today's world. But before we go there, we have a guest that we'll be talking to on the program today. Cyril, do that introduction.
Sorry, before we speak to our guests, I would like to add to what you said about creating an inclusive society for everybody so that if peradventure or by chance you find yourself in that situation of being disabled, the society would not will actually be quite convenient for you to live in. So I remember watching an interview where some persons were talking about persons with about living with disability. So the speaker said there was a woman, I think is a government personnel, that all this while they've been talking about disability, she never really understood the need for accessible spaces, the need for putting elevators just to accommodate persons with disabilities. So something happened. I think she got in an accident, and she had to live with disability for a while. It was not even a permanent issue, and she recounted that for about 5 months she couldn't access her office. So I think it was in that moment that it dawned on her that okay, these are real issues, right? So it's better to work with the mindset that create a society that can accommodate everybody, that is convenient for everybody, because sometimes it takes you having that experience, putting yourself in someone's shoes for you to actually understand why these things are important.
True.
And surprisingly, I'm not sure people who live with disabilities in 21st century understand the things that they enjoy. Probably because they didn't live in that era where it was more like it is, will I say, is a curse or is a taboo to be born with a disability.
Shout out to Navid. I mean, right now, Navid is giving scholarship yearly to persons with disability to, cushion the burden of the expensive nature or the costly nature of acquiring assistive materials for persons with disability. Back in the days, not many of us had the privilege of scholarship programs. It's either your parents can afford it or your parents cannot afford it, go home. But now we have organizations like Navi doing the most, helping persons with disability. So there's a lot to share about persons with disability. All right. If I don't know if our guest is ready, we want to connect via phone with our guest to talk about leveraging digital technology, particularly for persons with hearing impairment. How do people with hearing impairment, how do they function in today's world, in today's environment? What is it like for them in their world? How do they take advantage or leverage on technology? So, do we have our guest ready?
Not yet. Trying to reach her. Okay.
All right. While we're trying to hook up, try to get our guests to, have this conversation with us in the studio. Seems like she's ready.
Yes. Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon.
Okay, thank you for joining us, Madam Cynthia. Please can you introduce yourself? Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us on Itches and Voices. Please introduce yourself.
Seems like she's having problem hearing us. Can you introduce yourself, madam?
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, please can you introduce yourself? Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm Cynthia Godwin. I am a special teacher for.
Hello.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am, we can hear you now.
Okay. Good afternoon. Again, I said I'm Cynthia Godwin. I am a special teacher for students with hearing impairment.
Okay, ma'am, welcome to Hitches and Voices.
Thank you.
Ma, today we would like to talk to you about living with disability in the 21st century, especially as it concerns digital literacy. So we would like to know about technologies that are in place, assistive devices that are quite helpful to persons with hearing impairment, and how has it changed their lives or how has it impacted their lives?
Okay. Well, I think I'll start just quickly introducing what assistive devices are. Like you said, in 21st century, there are technological devices that can be used to bridge communication gap between hearing and hearing impaired persons. generally, it's just to create inclusive system for persons with hearing impairment. And some of these technological devices, some of these assistive devices are hearing aids, which is the most common one. And possible we have seen persons with hearing impairment wearing something in their ear. That's the hearing aid. That one helps to amplify sound for them. We have the cochlear implant. That one is an operation that is done in the inner ear, either the middle or the inner ear of persons with hearing impairment. Quite expensive, but it's a successful one. And if the hearing impaired person is able to access it, it can help persons to actually hear better and also to improve the speech, because some of these persons, they have a good level of hearing. So by the time they have an amplifier to boost the hearing, it also helps to improve the pitch. Also have things like the flashy bells, like the normal call bell in the house. But this we have a light. As the bell is ringing, the call bell is ringing. Maybe there's a visitor at the door or the office. The bell will be showing light. So the hearing impaired person seeing that light flashing on the door, on the bell, the person will know that there's someone at the door. We have the common one now, which is the phone. That's apps on the phone that are captioned for them to translate whatever is being said into writing, which they can read. We have the loop system. The loop system is an amplifier that's put in a building. It could be the home, the school, or the office to amplify the sound. So if the person is wearing a hearing aid and there's a loop system in the building, the person can easily pick sound faster than when the person is just wearing the hearing aid in an environment that's structured or in the loop system. So there are a whole lot more, and generally, assistive devices help persons with hearing impairment to be able to access information, to be able to enhance hearing and communication. And these assistive devices can either be in the home, be in the school, can be in the church, can be in their place of work, and public spaces like supermarkets, the hospitals, and lots more. So it will just help them to be able to live around their disabilities, and it will make life better for them.
All right, Madam Cynthia, I would like to ask a more broader question, not just based on assistive technology now or digital technology for persons with hearing impairment. But let's look at a more broader question. Most people see deaf people as people who associate with themselves only, that they don't, that's what they call the deaf culture. You know, they don't easily trust other persons, they communicate with themselves only. Would you say in today's world, most deaf persons are, they find it easier now to relate to the world around them? How many deaf people have access to higher education now compared to before, leveraging on technology? How many deaf persons now have access to job opportunity compared to how it was before, looking at the deaf culture concept?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. Firstly, I want to say that the deaf people, they really don't prefer living in their world, but just what is available to them. Just imagine you with a hearing person being in the midst of persons who, when you are talking, they can't understand you. So you feel that same way they feel when they're in the midst of people who don't have the language that they understand, where they don't have access to information. So they won't be comfortable. So it's not as if they actually prefer it, but it is just the culture of what is available to them. So they prefer to be in the midst of persons who can understand them when they talk, and those that they can also understand when the person talks. Talking about technology, generally, technology has become a blessing to every one of us, whether it's hearing or hearing impaired. So the same thing, technological advancement is a blessing, is a plus to every human being. So the same is with persons with hearing impairment. It can help them, even those of them in school that have access to mobile phones. They you are able to give them assignment, they are able to access information. What will take you a very long time to explain, just ask students, go to get a picture or get a video of this thing, and whatever you want to teach, you are able to pass information off in a very short time, and they are able to learn better because they have access to pictures, they have access to video of those things that ordinarily would have been like abstract to them. So it becomes concrete because of the pictures and videos that are accessible to them. Yes, some of them now they are able to improve their reading skills as well, because every time they have their phones trying to get information from them gradually, unlike before when you say, okay, go and read so and so says, go and get it, and some of them they don't even derive pleasure in reading some of those printed materials. But now everybody is used to phones, and you have a lot of things inside the phone. So by the time they are able to access internet through their phones, it's like you have reached the communication gap that has been a major barrier. So they're able to do well in the offices, they're able to do well. So many of them now, they are able to use them. So technology has actually tried to bridge the gap between hearing words and deaf words.
All right, I'll quickly ask a very, very interesting question. Are there jobs that ordinarily persons with hearing impairment could not do before now, that due to technology they are now able to do? Are there career paths that before now persons with disability person with hearing impairment couldn't take that path, but right now they can, take that career path now?
Yes, yeah.
So can you just list some of those jobs for us and let's know?
Okay, like the job of a secretary, for instance. Before now, if the boss cannot communicate using sign language, the boss will not be comfortable employing a deaf person as a secretary. But now you have a deaf person as a secretary, the person has a system on his phone, you can communicate through phone. This is what I want to do for me, do this for me. And the person is able to do his or her job perfectly without any gap, without having to know sign language or without having to have sign language interpreter right there. So there are a whole lot more like that because of technology. You can go to a barbing salon, for instance, and you want to cut your hair. The pictures are everywhere. Yes, it's not technology, but it's an inclusive system. You just point at the haircut that you want. This is what I want. And the deaf person looks at it and you want to want. So there are a whole lot more like that. Many more.
All right, thank you, Mother Cynthia, for coming to Hitches and Voices and having this conversation with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ma.
Thank you.
Well, like I said, disability is evolving, leveraging technology. Just recently, I heard of a deaf lawyer. That's one career path I never thought deaf people would even branch into. I also met somebody who is blind and deaf, but is a fantastic communicator. When I saw it, was like I saw a miracle. He goes out to give lectures, speeches. Amazing guy, amazing personality. He communicates by you touching his palm. When you touch his palm, you are able to communicate with him via his palm, and he's able to tell you exactly what you. I mean, it's just magical. We say these things.
Wow,
it looks like.
I'm amazed.
And I'm not talking Yankee. I'm not talking abroad.
Naija.
Yeah.
I'm talking Nigeria. He was in Edo State, and everybody was struggling to snap pictures with him, ask him questions. How are you able to do that? And it was fantastic. So, living with disabilities in the 21st century, it can only get better, particularly with awareness and more advocacy. It can only get better. And in case you want to know more about persons with disability, our world, you can follow NAVID on various social media platform.
On Instagram, you can follow us on official_NAVID. Facebook, NAVID. You can also reach out to us on X at NAVID Nigeria, www.navid.org. That's our website. Or call us on 091 3607 3671.
Yes, call us when you have money to give us. But just call us if you want to know more about, the world of persons with disability, or you have someone with a disability and you are really confused as to what you want to do with that child
We are here.
or that person. We are here to, help out. Barbara, it's a wrap.
Yep, it is.
Thank you very much.
All right, it's the weekend. Go enjoy yourself. My name is Kingsley Okoje. We'll do the same time next week to then spot the hitch
And be a
be a
voice.
voice.
If our world is what we make of it, then we know that our choices and decisions are what shape our society. And what we have right now is what we have given, for it's only a mirror of who we are. Sadly, the reflection isn't pretty. Staring back at us from the mirror is a broken world of social injustice, discrimination, and prejudices, especially against people with disabilities. Championing the course to heal this split is a network for the advancement of people with visible disabilities, NAPVID. We have decided to be a voice. You too can. Join me, Hitches and Voices, every Friday at 2 p.m. on Independent Radio 92.3. Hitches and Voices, spot the hitch, be a voice.
What's up? What's up?
With Independent Radio
92.3. So hungry. A boy.
Oga.
Go buy me some food from down the road.
Oga, they never open. They never cook by this time now. Now 8 o'clock they knock.
How about the other restaurant opposite the market?
That one go start to sell by 1. Let me call her Madam 1.
But I need to eat now, a boy.
If it fair you, Oga, update day. It gets ready. They call home and away restaurant. Then they open for 8 a.m. for morning, close for 11 p.m. for night. Both local, both intercontinental.